Welcome to Letters from New Zealand. This one is to Canada, and I am John Jarvis. I was a gunner in the 2nd Royal Canadian Horse Artillery, and to my American cousins, no, we still do not use horses up here. I was fortunate to be sent on a tour of duty to the Revelstoke National Park in the 1960s. This was a plum posting, and I suspect the Canadians sent me there to show a Kiwi what real mountains were like. At the time, the Trans-Canada Highway through the Rockies was the most expensive in the world, with over a third of it covered in concrete tunnels to prevent it from being blocked by avalanches. The rest was brought down by artillery fire. The snowfalls were measured, and before they reached a dangerous mass, were triggered into a premature fall by a 105mm artillery shell. Much of the time was spent eating too much, playing cards, and working on maintenance. When called into action, we trailered our piece to a prepared concrete pad and unlimbered. The officer checked his coordinates and ordered fire. We did. At first, nothing happened. Then I witnessed the awesome power of an avalanche. It shrouded the mountainside, snapping off full-sized trees and dislodging rocks, all in silence. The snow muffles all sounds. Front-end loaders then moved in to clear any excess snow off the road's surface. Rangers had closed both ends of the park, and when they received the all clear, opened the gates. One out-of-province motorist was brave enough to wind down his window and ask what was all that about. "Just the Doukhobors playing up again," joked the ranger. The news media, as they do, got hold of the story and descended on the park. Phones were slammed down and engines revved when the hoax was revealed. Sadly, I was ordered back to Winnipeg and delivered to the tiny park station. I was cold and went inside to read the notice. One said, to stop the train during daylight, use the red flag. At night, the red lantern. Clutching the flag, I waited on the platform as the rails began to sing. I have never felt more powerful than when I flagged down the hundreds of tons Canadian Pacific. I wanted to keep the flag. Back in Winnipeg, I had some downtime before the regiment was flown to Germany, and I used it to find out about these mysterious Doukhobors. They are a Russian religious sect, much hated by the Russian authorities for not following the Orthodox rites. Their name means spiritual wrestlers, and at the end of the 19th century they were given permission to emigrate to Canada. They reject materialism and were vegetarians, liking bread and borscht. Occasionally, the men, women and children would demonstrate naked against compulsory military service and demands that their children attend schools. Apparently, they had taken the gospel several steps further. If a man demands your shirt, give him your cloak too. As parading in naked in court could only provoke laughter, something authorities would never condone. Canadians were superstitious of the sect. Their communal living gave them an edge in trading, and they spent little in the wider community. The sect suffered splinter groups, assassination of a leader. Some groups reported the terrorist acts, mild by today's standards, attacked on empty school buildings, railway bridge and tracks, and during my time in Canada, electric pylons, resulting in the offenders being imprisoned in northern British Columbia. Here, in an area almost the size of the North Island of New Zealand, the oldest police force in the world, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, had only one officer. Mounties then, as of now, faced criticism for serious mistakes as a result of being spread too thin. This officer, however, was about to gain nationwide notoriety for his handling of the inspected naked demonstrators. They arrived at the prison, naked, having hidden their clothes somewhere. The constable suggested that because it was becoming late, that the days were short that far north, that the demonstrators accept shelter in a barn overnight. They agreed. As soon as they were inside, the constable slammed and locked the doors and then climbed up a steep ladder with the aid of an extension and hung a kerosene lamp over the slatted air vent. British Columbian mosquitoes make Stuka bombers look like butterflies. They can sting through multiple layers of clothing, even lightly protected ones. The naked bodies inside were a bloodfest. Their screams were audible through the thick walls of the prison. The next morning, the demonstrators were released and offered breakfast and balm. They fled with their inflamed skins and were never seen again. Thank you for watching. Please tick the subscribe thingy below and keep in good health.